The call came at 2:47 a.m., jolting me from sleep like a fire alarm. Vanessa's name glowed on my phone screen, and my heart immediately started racing. My sister never called this late unless something was catastrophically wrong. "Ava? Oh God, Ava, I need you." Her voice was raw, broken in a way I'd never heard before, not even when she'd gotten her third negative pregnancy test, or when the fertility specialist had delivered yet another round of devastating news. "Vanessa, what's wrong? Are you okay?" "I'm not okay. I'm never going to be okay." She was crying now, those deep body-shaking sobs that come from somewhere primal. "The eggs, they're not viable. None of them. The doctor said, he said there's no point in trying anymore." My name is Ava, and I'm the younger sister who always fixes things. The one who brings soup when someone's sick, who remembers birthdays, who shows up when called at 3 a.m. I'd been doing it my whole life, and apparently tonight would be no different. "I'm coming over," I said, already reaching for my jeans. "No, don't. Graham's here, and he's not handling this well. I just needed to hear your voice." I could hear muffled arguing in the background, Graham's voice sharp and cutting even through the phone. "Vanessa, listen to me. You're going to get through this. There are other options." "What options?" Her laugh was bitter. "Adoption? Graham won't even consider it. He says he needs his own biological child, his own legacy, and I can't give him that." The silence stretched between us, filled with her quiet crying and my own helpless breathing. "There is one option," she whispered finally. "But I can't ask you. I can't." "Ask me what?" "No, it's too much. You have your own life, your teaching job, your—" "Vanessa, just tell me." Another long pause. Then, could you ever consider being a surrogate? For us? The question hit me like a physical blow. I sat down hard on my bed, phone pressed to my ear. "I know it's insane," she rushed on. "I know it's asking everything of you. But you're the only person I trust, the only person who could give us this gift. And you're so good with kids, Ava. You were born to be a mother. Born to be a mother, but apparently not born to keep the child." "I need to think about it," I managed. Of course you do. I'm sorry for even asking. I'm just so desperate and—" "I'll think about it," I repeated, more firmly this time. "Give me a few days." But even as I said it, I knew what my answer would be. I'd been watching my sister's heartbreak for 3 years. I'd seen her transform from the confident, successful marketing executive into someone hollow-eyed and brittle. If I could fix this for her, how could I not? 3 days later, I called her back. "I'll do it." The silence on the other end lasted so long, I thought the call had dropped. "Ava, did you just say, 'I'll be your surrogate. I want to help you and Graham have your family'?" She started crying again, but these were different tears. Relief, joy, hope. Oh my God, Ava, I love you so much. You're saving my life. You're literally saving my life." For the first time in years, I felt truly needed by my family. Not just useful, but essential. It was intoxicating. The first few months were everything I'd hoped for. Vanessa included me in every appointment, every decision. She held my hand during the embryo transfer, tears streaming down her face. Graham actually smiled at me. Smiled! And told me I was doing something beautiful. Even Mom got involved, calling to check on me, asking about my diet and sleep schedule. For once, I wasn't the afterthought daughter, the one who got leftover attention when Vanessa was busy. But things started shifting around month 4. "You really shouldn't be eating that," Vanessa said, eyeing my sandwich at our weekly lunch. "Too much sodium? It's not good for the baby." "It's turkey and avocado," I said, confused. "Still, I've been reading about pregnancy nutrition. I made you a meal plan." She slid a laminated sheet across the table. Graham's nutritionist helped me design it. I stared at the rigid schedule of approved foods and portion sizes. "This seems a bit much, don't you think?" "Nothing is too much when it comes to my baby's health." My baby. Not our baby, not the baby. My baby. That should have been my first real warning. The second call came 6 weeks later, this time at 1:15 a.m. I was getting used to Vanessa's late-night panic attacks, but something about her voice made my blood run cold. Ava, I need to see you. Now, can you come over? Vanessa, it's past 1 in the morning. Can't this wait until... No, Graham's at his conference in Chicago. I need to talk to you alone. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in her pristine living room, watching my sister pace back and forth like a caged animal. Her hair was disheveled, her designer pajamas wrinkled. I'd never seen her look so unraveled. The doctor called today, she said without preamble, about the genetic testing results. My hand instinctively went to my growing belly. Is everything okay? Is the baby... The baby's fine. Perfect, actually. She stopped pacing and turned to face me. But there's a problem. A big problem. What kind of problem? She sat down across from me, her hands shaking as she reached for a glass of wine I hadn't noticed before. The genetic markers, they don't match what they should. I frowned. I don't understand. The embryo we transferred, it wasn't viable. It didn't take. She took a large gulp of wine. This baby, it's not from the IVF. The room seemed to tilt sideways. What are you saying? I'm saying this baby is yours, Ava. Biologically yours. You must have gotten pregnant naturally, right around the same time as the transfer. I stared at her, my mouth opening and closing like a fish. That's impossible. I wasn't seeing anyone. I haven't been with anyone in months. The timing lines up with that night you came over to comfort me after the failed cycle. Remember? You stayed late, and Graham was working in his office. She trailed off, her face flushing red. Vanessa, what are you not telling me? She buried her face in her hands. Graham came out to get a drink. You were asleep on the couch. He was drunk and upset and what? He thought you were me. In the dark, with your hair down, you look so much like me from behind. By the time he realized, it was too late. The world stopped spinning. Everything went completely silent, except for the sound of my own heartbeat thundering in my ears. You're telling me that Graham, it was a mistake. A horrible, drunken mistake. You were unconscious, and he was devastated about the fertility news and... Stop. I held up my hand, bile rising in my throat. Just stop talking. Ava, please. I know how this sounds, but... How this sounds! I shot to my feet. Your husband assaulted me, and you're worried about how it sounds? It wasn't assault. Not really. It was a misunderstanding. I was unconscious. You were sleeping, and you didn't say no, because I was asleep. Vanessa started crying, but I felt no sympathy. None at all. Why are you telling me this now? I demanded. Why not when it happened? Because I didn't know. Graham told me the next morning, and we both agreed it was better to pretend it never happened. But then when the doctor called about the genetics, you've known for months that this baby might be mine, and you said nothing? I hoped it wasn't true. I prayed it wasn't true, but the tests don't lie. I started walking toward the door, but she grabbed my arm. Ava, wait, please. I need you to promise me something. Let go of me. Promise me you won't tell Graham that you know. Promise me you'll let us raise this baby as ours. I yanked my arm free. Are you insane? Think about it logically. Graham doesn't know the baby is biologically yours. He thinks it's ours from the IVF. If you tell him the truth, it will destroy our marriage. It will destroy everything. Maybe it should be destroyed. Please, Ava, I'm begging you. This baby is the only chance I have at being a mother. The only chance Graham and I have at staying together. If you take that away from me... She was sobbing now, mascara streaming down her cheeks. I'll do anything. Pay you more money. Buy you a house. Whatever you want. Just please, please don't take my baby away from me. I looked at my sister, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. Someone who could watch her husband assault me and call it a misunderstanding. Someone who could ask me to pretend my own child wasn't mine. I need to go. Ava, please. I said I need to go. I walked out of her house and sat in my car for 20 minutes, shaking. Then I pulled out my phone and called her back. Vanessa, I need you to repeat everything you just told me, for my own peace of mind. Why? Just do it, please. And she did. Every horrible detail, while I recorded every word. The changes started immediately after that night. Within a week, Vanessa had hired a pregnancy consultant named Dr. Martinez, who showed up at my apartment unannounced. "I'm here to do a wellness check," she announced, pushing past me into my living room. "Vanessa is concerned about your living conditions." "My living conditions are fine." Dr. Martinez wrinkled her nose as she surveyed my modest one-bedroom apartment. "The air quality in this building is questionable, and these stairs, very dangerous for someone in your condition. I've been walking up these stairs for 3 years. Not while carrying precious cargo." She made notes on her clipboard. "Vanessa has arranged for you to move into the guest house behind their property. Much safer environment." "I'm not moving." "It's not really a request, dear. The contract you signed gives them authority over decisions affecting the baby's welfare." I grabbed the contract from my kitchen drawer and flipped through it frantically. There it was, buried in the legal jargon. The intended parents had the right to ensure optimal prenatal conditions. 2 days later, Graham showed up with movers. "This is for the best, Ava," he said, not making eye contact. "The guest house has better security, cleaner air, and Vanessa can monitor your health more closely." "Monitor my health?" "You've been looking pale lately, stressed. It's not good for the baby." The guest house was nice. Too nice. It felt like a gilded cage with its pristine white walls and locked medicine cabinet. Vanessa had stocked the refrigerator with approved foods and left a daily schedule on the counter. 6 a.m., prenatal vitamins and protein shake. 7 a.m., light exercise, walking only. 8 a.m., breakfast from approved meal plan. The schedule went on for 16 hours, ending with 10 p.m., lights out for optimal sleep cycle. My best friend Chelsea came to visit that first week. "This is insane," she said, looking around the sterile space. "You're living like a prisoner?" "It's temporary. Just until the baby comes." "Ava, listen to yourself. They moved you into their backyard like your livestock." "They're just being careful. They're being controlling." Chelsea sat down next to me on the uncomfortable white couch. "When's the last time you went anywhere alone?" I tried to remember. "I went to the grocery store yesterday. With Vanessa. She wanted to make sure I bought the right things." "And before that?" I couldn't answer. Chelsea pulled out her phone. "I'm calling you a lawyer." "No." I grabbed her wrist. "I can't afford legal trouble right now. I need this arrangement to work." "Why? Because they're paying you?" "Because—" I stopped. "Because why?" "Because I was carrying my own child and pretending she belonged to someone else. Because I was too scared to face the truth about what Graham had done." "Because they're family," I said weakly. "Family doesn't treat family like this." The next morning, Mum showed up for her weekly inspection. She walked through the guest house with a critical eye, checking the refrigerator contents and examining my appearance. "You're gaining too much weight," she announced. "Your face is getting puffy." "I'm 7 months pregnant, Mum." Vanessa never got puffy when she was trying to get pregnant. She maintained her figure beautifully. Vanessa was never actually pregnant. Mum's face hardened. "Don't be smart with me, Ava. You're providing a service here. The least you can do is provide it professionally." "Professionally?" "Yes. This isn't about you anymore. It's about giving Vanessa and Graham the healthy baby they deserve. Your job is to be the best possible vessel for their child." Vessel. The word hit me like a slap. "I'm not a vessel, Mum. I'm a person." "You're a person who made a commitment. Don't you dare get selfish now." That afternoon, I overheard Vanessa talking to someone on the phone in the main house. The windows were open, and her voice carried clearly across the yard. "No, she's been compliant so far, but I'm worried she's getting too attached. Graham thinks we should start limiting her contact with outside people." "Who's she talking to?" I whispered to myself. "Dr. Martinez, probably," came a voice behind me. I spun around to find Graham standing in the doorway of the guest house. "How long have you been there?" "Long enough." He stepped inside and closed the door behind him. "We need to talk." "About what?" "About your attitude lately. Vanessa says you've been asking questions about the baby's future, about custody arrangements." "I never said anything about custody." "But you've been thinking about it, haven't you?" He moved closer, and I instinctively backed away. "Let me be very clear, Ava. This baby belongs to Vanessa and me, not you. You're just the carrier." "I understand that." "Do you?" Because Vanessa thinks you're getting confused about your role here. She's concerned you might try to interfere after the birth. I would never... Good, because if you did, it would be very unfortunate for everyone involved. You signed a contract, you took our money, and frankly, given your history of instability... My history of what? The family has discussed your emotional state, your tendency toward dramatic outbursts, your inability to maintain stable relationships. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. If it came down to a legal battle, I don't think you'd fare very well. After he left, I sat on the white couch and stared at the locked medicine cabinet. Everything was spinning out of control, and I was powerless to stop it. That's when I remembered the recording on my phone. The baby shower was everything Vanessa had dreamed of, and everything I'd dreaded. The main house had been transformed into a pastel paradise, with white and gold balloons floating from every surface, and enough flowers to stock a funeral home. I stood in the corner of the living room, wearing the maternity dress Vanessa had chosen for me, a shapeless beige thing that made me look like a walking tent. Around me, 50 of her closest friends and family members sipped champagne and cooed over the elaborate gift displays. "Ava, darling, you look radiant," gushed Mrs. Patterson from Mum's book club, though her eyes said otherwise. "How wonderful that you could do this for your sister." "Yes, wonderful," I managed. "And so selfless. I don't think I could ever be so generous with my body." Generous. As if I'd donated a kidney instead of carrying my own child. Vanessa glided through the crowd in a flowing white dress, accepting congratulations and gifts with practiced grace. She'd even worn a fake pregnancy bump, a small pillow that gave her the appearance of being about 4 months along. "She's glowing, isn't she?" Mum appeared at my elbow, beaming with pride. "This is exactly what she needed after all those years of trying." "She's not actually pregnant, Mum." "Don't be pedantic, Ava. She's about to become a mother. That's what matters." Graham worked the room like a politician, shaking hands and accepting cigars from the men. Every few minutes he'd glance in my direction with that cold smile that made my skin crawl. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mum called out, tapping her champagne glass with a fork. "If I could have your attention for a moment?" The room quieted, and all eyes turned toward the front of the living room, where Mum stood with Vanessa and Graham. "I want to thank you all for being here today to celebrate this miracle," Mum began. "As you know, Vanessa and Graham have been trying to start their family for years, and thanks to modern medicine and the generosity of family, their dream is finally coming true." Polite applause rippled through the crowd. "I especially want to acknowledge my younger daughter Ava, who has served as the vessel that made this possible. Without her sacrifice, we wouldn't be here today." More applause, this time with people turning to look at me. I felt like an exhibit at a zoo. "Vessel," I repeated under my breath. "Now, I believe Graham has something he'd like to say," Mum continued. Graham stepped forward, his arm around Vanessa's waist. "Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you all for being here. This has been a long journey for Vanessa and me, but we're finally at the finish line." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a thick envelope. "Ava, could you come up here for a moment?" Every head in the room turned toward me. I felt frozen, but somehow my feet started moving. The crowd parted as I made my way to the front, my heart pounding so hard I was sure everyone could hear it. "Ava has been more than generous with her time and her body," Graham said, his voice carrying across the silent room. "And we want to make sure she's properly compensated for her service." He handed me the envelope. It was heavy, expensive paper with my name written in Vanessa's careful script. "Go ahead, open it," Vanessa urged, her smile bright and brittle. Inside was a check for $50,000, far more than we'd originally agreed on. But underneath the check was something else, a plane ticket to Portland, Oregon, dated for next week. "We thought you might want to start fresh after all this," Graham said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "A new city, a new beginning. You've earned it." I stared at the ticket, my hands shaking. "I don't understand." "It's time for you to start your own life, Ava," Vanessa said, her voice sweet but her eyes hard. "You've done such a beautiful thing for us, and now you deserve to focus on yourself. But the baby isn't due for another month. The doctors think it might be sooner than that. And frankly, it might be easier for everyone if you're not around during the transition. The room was completely silent now. I could feel 50 pairs of eyes watching this exchange, waiting to see how I'd respond. You want me to leave before the baby is born? We want you to have the freedom to move on with your life, Graham said smoothly. No strings attached, no awkward visits or complicated feelings. A clean break is better for everyone. My cousin Serenity was standing near the back of the room, her face pale with shock. Chelsea had positioned herself by the kitchen door, her phone in her hand like she was ready to call for help. This is very generous, I said slowly, holding up the envelope. But I think there's been a misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? Vanessa's smile faltered slightly. About whose baby this actually is. The silence in the room became deafening. Someone's champagne glass clinked against a table. A baby started crying somewhere in the distance, probably one of the guests' children. Ava, Mum said sharply, don't make a scene. I'm not making a scene, Mum. I'm just clarifying the situation for everyone. Graham stepped forward, his face darkening. I think you're confused about your role here, Ava. Perhaps the stress of the pregnancy has affected your judgment. My judgment is fine. It's my memory that's been bothering me lately. I pulled out my phone and held it up so everyone could see. Especially my memory of a very interesting conversation I had with Vanessa a few months ago. Ava, put the phone away, Vanessa said, her voice tight with panic. You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? I looked around the room at all the confused faces. I think everyone deserves to know the truth about this miracle baby you're celebrating. Graham moved toward me, but Chelsea appeared at my side like she'd materialized from thin air. Don't even think about it, she told him, her voice low and dangerous. This is a private family matter, Mum hissed, trying to grab my arm. Take this conversation somewhere else. No, Mum, I'm done hiding in back rooms and guest houses. I stepped away from her reach. I'm done being the dirty little secret. Ava, please, Vanessa begged, tears starting to form in her eyes. Don't do this. Not here, not like this. Where then, Vanessa? In another midnight phone call? In another locked room where you can control the narrative? The crowd was getting restless. I could hear whispers starting, people asking each other what was happening. Someone should call security, Graham muttered to one of his friends. Security? I laughed, and it came out harsh and bitter. For what? Telling the truth at a baby shower? You're having a breakdown, Mum declared loudly. The stress of the pregnancy has clearly affected your mental state. My mental state is fine. It's my family that's sick. I held up my phone again, my finger hovering over the play button. Last chance, Vanessa. Do you want to tell them, or should I? Tell us what? The voice came from the back of the room. Braxton, one of Graham's golf buddies, pushed through the crowd. What's going on here? Nothing, Graham said quickly. Ava's just having some pregnancy hormones. I'm having my own baby, I said, my voice carrying across the silent room. This isn't a surrogate pregnancy. This is my biological child that they're trying to steal from me. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Gasps, shouts, someone's drink hitting the floor. That's impossible, Mrs. Patterson said. The IVF failed, I finished. The embryo transfer didn't work. This baby was conceived naturally. You're lying, Graham snarled, but his face had gone white. Am I? Then you won't mind if I play this recording of Vanessa explaining exactly how it happened. Don't you dare, Vanessa whispered. But I was already pressing play. Vanessa's voice filled the room, tinny through my phone speaker, but crystal clear. The embryo we transferred. It wasn't viable. It didn't take. This baby. It's not from the IVF. This baby is yours, Ava. Biologically yours. The room erupted. People were talking over each other, demanding explanations, some heading for the door. Turn it off, Mom shrieked, lunging for my phone. But the recording kept playing. Vanessa's voice continued. Graham came out to get a drink. You were asleep on the couch. He was drunk and upset, and he thought you were me. In the dark, with your hair down, you look so much like me from behind. By the time he realized, it was too late. The silence that followed was deafening. Every eye in the room turned to Graham, whose face had gone from white to grey. That's not what happened," he stammered. "Then what did happen, Graham?" Braxton asked, his voice cold. "She's making it up. She's unstable. I'm not making up your wife's voice," I said. "That's Vanessa, explaining how you assaulted me while I was unconscious." "It wasn't assault," Vanessa said desperately. "It was a mistake. A misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding." Serenity stepped forward, her face flushed with anger. "He raped her while she was sleeping, and you call it a misunderstanding? Don't use that word," Mom snapped. "This is a family matter." "This is a crime," Chelsea said, pulling out her own phone. "And I'm calling the police." "No," Graham said quickly. "There's no need for that. We can work this out privately." "Like you worked out stealing my baby privately?" I asked. "It's not your baby," he insisted. "You signed a contract based on fraud. You all knew this baby was mine, and you were planning to ship me off to Oregon so I'd never see her again." "Her?" Vanessa's voice was barely a whisper. "Yes, her. My daughter. The one you've been pretending is yours for months." More people were leaving now, pulling out their phones as they headed for the door. I could already imagine the texts flying through their social circles. "This is insane," Mom said, trying to regain control. "Ava, you're destroying this family over nothing." "Over nothing?" I turned to face her. "Mum, your son-in-law sexually assaulted me. Your older daughter covered it up, and they're both trying to steal my child. Which part of that is nothing? You agreed to be a surrogate. I agreed to carry Vanessa's baby. This isn't Vanessa's baby. This is mine." Graham grabbed Vanessa's arm. "We're leaving. This conversation is over." "No, it's not," I called after them. "It's just getting started." As they pushed through the crowd toward the door, I heard Vanessa sobbing and Graham hissing something about lawyers. "Ava," Serenity appeared beside me, her face pale but determined. "I need to tell you something." "What?" "I have text messages from Vanessa from months ago. She was asking me about adoption laws, about parental rights. She knew, Ava. She's known all along that this baby was yours." The last few guests were filing out now, their voices carrying back through the open door as they discussed what they'd just witnessed. Chelsea put her arm around my shoulders. "Are you okay?" I looked around the destroyed party. Overturned chairs, abandoned gifts, champagne glasses scattered across the floor. "No," I said, "but I'm finally free." The bathroom in the main house became my refuge as the chaos continued outside. I could hear car doors slamming, engines starting, and the rapid-fire buzz of phone conversations as guests fled the scene. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely turn on the faucet. Chelsea knocked on the door. "Ava, you okay in there?" "I'm fine," I lied, splashing cold water on my face. "No, you're not. And that's okay. What you just did took incredible courage." I opened the door to find her standing there with Serenity, both of them looking like they'd just witnessed a car accident. "Is everyone gone?" I asked. "Most of them. Your parents are in the kitchen having a screaming match with Vanessa. Graham locked himself in his office." "What are they saying?" "Your mum's blaming you for ruining the family reputation. Your dad's asking why nobody told him what really happened. And Vanessa..." Serenity shook her head. "Vanessa's having a complete meltdown." As if on cue, we heard Vanessa's voice from the kitchen, high and hysterical. "She's destroying everything I've worked for." "You worked for?" Dad's voice louder than I'd ever heard it. "You covered up a sexual assault." "It wasn't assault. It was a mistake. A mistake that resulted in a pregnancy you tried to steal." Chelsea grabbed my arm. "We should get you out of here." "No." I straightened up, feeling something hard and cold settle in my chest. "I'm not running anymore." I walked back into the living room, where the remnants of the baby shower looked like a crime scene. Broken glass, scattered napkins, and abandoned gift bags created a surreal landscape of destruction. Graham emerged from his office, his face red and his tie loosened. "Ava, we need to talk. Privately." "Nothing private anymore, Graham. I'm done with secrets." "You don't understand what you've done. The legal implications." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm trying to protect you. If this goes public, if you pursue this legally, it will destroy all of us, including you." I'm already destroyed. You made sure of that. He moved closer, and I could smell alcohol on his breath. You signed a contract. You took our money. You agreed to this arrangement. I agreed to carry Vanessa's baby, not my own. The law doesn't care about biology. It cares about contracts and intent. Does it care about rape? The word hung in the air like a bomb. Graham's face went white, then red, then white again. Don't use that word. You know that's not what happened. Then what would you call it? Sex with an unconscious woman who couldn't consent. It was dark. I thought you were Vanessa. It was an honest mistake. An honest mistake that you never reported to the police. An honest mistake that you and Vanessa decided to cover up and profit from. Mum appeared in the doorway, her face streaked with tears and mascara. Ava, please. Think about what you're doing to this family. What I'm doing? What about what you all did to me? We were trying to help Vanessa have a baby. You agreed to help. I agreed to help before I knew Graham had raped me, before I knew this was my biological child. Stop saying that word, Mum snapped. It's not rape when it's family. The silence that followed was so complete, I could hear the ice maker cycling in the kitchen. Did you just say it's not rape when it's family? Chelsea's voice was deadly quiet. I meant, it's not the same as, they know each other. Mum? I stared at her, seeing a stranger. Do you hear yourself? I'm trying to hold this family together while you tear it apart with your dramatics. My dramatics? I was sexually assaulted, and you're calling it dramatics. You were unconscious. You didn't even know it happened until Vanessa told you. If it was really so traumatic, why didn't you go to the police then? Because I was in shock. Because I trusted my family to do the right thing. Because I thought you loved me. We do love you. That's why we're trying to fix this quietly. Fix what? The rape, or the fact that I found out about it? Dad finally spoke up from the kitchen doorway. Elizabeth, stop talking. Just stop. Don't tell me to stop, Simon. Someone has to be the voice of reason here. The voice of reason? He walked into the room, his face haggard. Our daughter was assaulted, and you're worried about appearances? I'm worried about all of us going to prison. Maybe some of us should go to prison, Serenity said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. She was holding her phone, scrolling through something. What are you talking about? Graham demanded. These text messages from Vanessa, from 4 months ago. She started reading. I need to know about parental rights. If someone carries a baby that's biologically theirs but legally someone else's, what happens? Can the biological parent claim custody later? Give me that phone! Mum lunged for it, but Serenity stepped back. There's more. What if the biological parent doesn't know the baby is theirs? Can we keep it that way legally? And my personal favourite? Graham thinks we should move Ava somewhere isolated before the birth, somewhere she can't cause problems. Graham's face had gone completely grey. Serenity, you don't understand the context. The context is that you all knew this baby was Ava's, and you were planning to steal her and disappear the evidence. We weren't stealing anything. We were providing a stable home. By lying, manipulating, and isolating the biological mother. She agreed to be a surrogate. She agreed to carry your baby, not give up her own. The front door opened, and Vanessa stumbled back in, her face blotchy and her hair dishevelled. It's over, she announced. It's all over. Mrs. Patterson is already posting about it on Facebook. Braxton called his wife. By tomorrow, everyone will know. She looked at me with pure hatred. Are you happy now? You've destroyed everything. I didn't destroy anything, Vanessa. I just stopped pretending your lies were the truth. This baby was supposed to save my marriage, save my life. This baby is my daughter, not your salvation. She's not your daughter. She's mine. I've been planning for her, preparing for her, loving her. You've been planning to steal her. Vanessa collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I can't lose her, I can't. She's all I have left. You never had her to begin with. Graham pulled out his phone. I'm calling Warren. We need legal advice. Good idea, Chelsea said, pulling out her own phone. I'm calling the police. Wait, I said. Everyone froze. Before anyone calls anyone, I want to make one thing clear. I looked around the room at my family, my broken, toxic, criminal family. This ends now. All of it. The lies, the manipulation, the cover-ups, everything? What do you want? Graham asked. I want my daughter, I want full custody, and I want all of you to stay away from us. That's not legally possible. Then make it possible, because if you don't, that recording goes to the police, the media, and anyone else who'll listen. The room fell silent except for Vanessa's quiet sobbing. You're blackmailing us, Mom said. I'm protecting my child, something none of you ever did for me. Graham's phone rang, cutting through the tense silence. He glanced at the screen, and his face went even paler. It's Warren, he said, answering immediately. Warren, thank God. We have a situation. He walked toward the kitchen, but I could still hear every word. What do you mean it's already online? What's online? A pause. Facebook? Instagram? How is that possible? Serenity held up her phone. Braxton's wife posted a live video during your little speech. It's been shared 200 times already. Jesus Christ, Graham muttered, returning to the living room. Warren, I need you to get here now. We need damage control. Damage control? I laughed. The damage is done, Graham. The truth is out. The truth according to you. We'll see what a judge says about your little recording. Actually, Chelsea said, scrolling through her phone, we might not need a judge. Look at this. She turned her screen toward us. It was a Facebook post from someone named Jennifer Patterson. Just witnessed the most insane baby shower drama. The surrogate sister played a recording proving the baby is actually hers and the husband assaulted her while she was unconscious. I'm literally shaking. Baby shower. From hell. Justice forever. 237 shares, Chelsea read. And climbing. Mum sank into a chair. We're ruined. Completely ruined. You ruined yourselves, I said. My phone started buzzing with notifications. Text messages, missed calls, social media alerts. The story was spreading like wildfire. Ava, Dad said quietly, what do you want from us? Really? I want you to admit what you did. I want Graham to turn himself into the police, and I want full custody of my daughter. That's not going to happen, Graham said, ending his call with Warren. My lawyer says the surrogacy contract is ironclad. Biology doesn't matter if there's a legal agreement in place. Your lawyer doesn't know about the recording. The recording proves nothing except that Vanessa was confused about the timeline. Confused? Serenity stepped forward. She explicitly said Graham assaulted Ava while she was unconscious. She said it was a misunderstanding in the dark. That's not assault. It's rape, Chelsea said flatly. Sex without consent is rape. She didn't say no, because she was unconscious. The front door opened again, and Warren walked in, a thin man in an expensive suit who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Graham, Vanessa, he nodded to them, then looked around the destroyed living room. I see the situation is escalating. Warren, thank God, Vanessa said, wiping her eyes. Tell them about the contract. Tell them Ava can't just take our baby. Warren pulled out his phone and showed Graham something on the screen. Graham's face went white. What is it? Vanessa demanded. The video, Warren said grimly. It's gone viral. Local news stations are picking it up. I've already had 3 reporters call my office. Can we sue for defamation? Mum asked desperately. Sue who? The woman telling the truth about being sexually assaulted. Warren shook his head. Elizabeth, I need to be very clear here. If this goes to court, Graham could face criminal charges. For what? It was a misunderstanding? It was rape, Warren said bluntly. And now there's recorded evidence of a conspiracy to cover it up and steal the resulting child. The room fell silent. What are our options? Graham asked quietly. Honestly, very limited. The surrogacy contract becomes void if it was based on fraud or coercion. And given the circumstances, Warren looked at me. Ava has a very strong case for full custody. This is insane, Vanessa whispered. She agreed to this. She wanted to help us. She agreed to carry your biological child, not give up her own, Warren replied. The law is very clear on this distinction. My phone rang. I glanced at the screen. It was a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Is this Ava Morgan? This is Rebecca Chen from Channel 7 News. We'd like to interview you about the baby shower incident that's been circulating online. I looked around the room at my family's horrified faces. Actually, yes. I'd be very interested in telling my story. Ava, don't, Mum pleaded. Think about the family. I am thinking about my family, my daughter and me. When would be convenient for the interview? The reporter asked. How about now? I'm at 1247 Maple Street. The scene of the crime, you might say. Graham lunged for my phone, but Chelsea blocked him. Touch her again, and I'm calling 911, she warned. This is blackmail, he snarled. No, this is consequences, I replied. Something you've never had to face before. Warren was typing furiously on his phone. Graham, I strongly advise against any further contact with Ava. Anything you say now could be used against you in criminal proceedings. Criminal proceedings? Vanessa's voice was barely a whisper. Sexual assault is a felony, Vanessa. Conspiracy to cover it up is also a crime. And attempting to steal someone's biological child. Warren shook his head. You're looking at serious jail time. But we're family, Mum said desperately. Families don't send each other to prison. Families don't rape each other either, Serenity said coldly. A van pulled up outside. Channel 7 News emblazoned on the side. That was fast, Chelsea observed. Slow news day, I said, walking toward the door. Perfect timing for a story about justice. Ava, please, Vanessa grabbed my arm. I'm begging you, don't do this. I'll give you anything you want. Money, the house, whatever. I want my daughter, and I want all of you to stay away from us forever. You can't just disappear with her. We have rights. You have no rights. You're not her parents. You never were. I opened the front door as the news crew approached. Ms. Morgan, I'm Rebecca Chen. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us. Thank you for coming. I have quite a story to tell. Behind me, I could hear Vanessa sobbing and Graham cursing. Mum was on her phone, probably calling relatives to do damage control. But for the first time in months, I felt free. Where would you like to start? The reporter asked, setting up her camera. I looked back at the house where I'd been held prisoner, at the family who'd betrayed me in the worst possible way. Let's start with the truth, I said. All of it. The interview aired that night during the 6 o'clock news. I watched it from my hospital bed, holding my daughter, Marley, who had arrived 3 days after the baby shower, as if she couldn't wait to escape the chaos surrounding her birth. Local woman exposes family conspiracy, the anchor announced. A baby shower turns into a shocking revelation of sexual assault and attempted child theft. Chelsea sat in the chair beside my bed, scrolling through her phone. The video has over 1 million views now. And justice for Ava is trending. Any word from my family? Radio silence, but Graham's law firm issued a statement saying he's taking a leave of absence pending an investigation. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Warren. Graham and Vanessa want to meet. They're prepared to discuss terms. I showed Chelsea the message. Terms? She scoffed. What terms? They have no leverage. They think they do. The surrogacy contract, the money they paid me, the fact that I lived in their guest house for months, all of which becomes irrelevant when you prove fraud and sexual assault. Dr. Martinez, the real Dr. Martinez from the hospital, not Vanessa's hired spy, knocked on the door. How are we feeling today, Ava? Like I've been hit by a truck, but otherwise good. And Miss Marley? I looked down at my daughter, sleeping peacefully in my arms. She had my nose and what looked like it might be my dark hair, though it was still too early to tell. She's perfect. Any visitors today? Just Chelsea. My family is complicated right now. Dr. Martinez nodded diplomatically. Well, you should be able to go home tomorrow if everything continues to look good. After she left, I called Warren back. This is Ava. Ava, thank you for calling. My clients would like to arrange a meeting. Your clients can arrange to turn themselves in to the police. That's not going to happen, but they are prepared to make a very generous offer. I'm listening. Full custody to you, no visitation rights claimed, and a substantial financial settlement. In exchange, you agree not to pursue criminal charges. I looked at Marley, then at Chelsea, who was shaking her head vigorously. How substantial? $2 million. Tax-free. Chelsea grabbed my arm. Don't even consider it, she whispered. I need to think about it, I told Warren. Of course. But Ava? The offer expires in 24 hours. After that, we go to court and fight this publicly. You mean you lose publicly? Maybe, but it will be expensive and messy for everyone involved, including you. After I hung up, Chelsea exploded. $2 million? That's blood money, Ava. You can't let them buy their way out of this. It's not about the money. It's about protecting Marley. From what? From having a convicted rapist as a legal father figure, from years of court battles and custody disputes, from growing up knowing her conception was the result of a crime. So you're just going to let them walk away? I'm going to let them live with the consequences of their choices. Graham's career is over. Vanessa's reputation is destroyed. My parents have lost both their daughters. That's not nothing. My phone rang. It was Serenity. Ava, I wanted you to know. I filed a police report about the text messages and what I witnessed at the shower. Serenity, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. What they did to you was criminal, and someone needs to be held accountable. What did the police say? They're opening an investigation. The detective wants to interview you when you're ready. I looked down at Marley again. She was awake now, staring at me with those unfocused newborn eyes. I'll call them tomorrow. Good. And Ava, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. I'm sorry our family failed you, and I'm sorry you had to go through this alone. I wasn't alone. I had Chelsea, and now I have Marley. You have me too. Whatever you need. The next morning, Detective Rodriguez came to the hospital. She was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. I've reviewed the evidence, she said, sitting beside my bed. The recording, the text messages, witness statements from the baby shower, we have enough to press charges. What kind of charges? Sexual assault in the first degree for Graham, conspiracy and fraud for Vanessa, possibly your parents as accessories after the fact. And if I take their settlement offer? That's your choice, but I want you to know, this isn't just about you anymore. Other women have come forward. My blood ran cold. Other women? 3 so far. Similar stories about Graham, alcohol involved, claims of misunderstanding, family pressure to stay quiet. I felt sick. He's done this before. It appears so, which is why your case is so important. You're the first victim willing to go public. I need to think about this. Of course. But Ava, whatever you decide, you should know that you've already won. Your daughter is safe, your family can't hurt you anymore, and the truth is out there for everyone to see. That afternoon, Warren called again. Have you made a decision about our offer? Yes, I said, looking at Marley sleeping in her bassinet. I'm declining. Ava, please reconsider. This is a very generous... I'm not interested in your money, Warren. I'm interested in justice. You're making a mistake. No, I'm making a choice. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing myself and my daughter over my family's reputation. The criminal charges will destroy everyone. Good. Maybe that's what needs to happen. I hung up and called Detective Rodriguez. Detective, this is Ava. I want to press charges. All of them. Are you sure? I looked around the hospital room, at Chelsea sleeping in the uncomfortable chair, at the flowers from co-workers and friends I'd forgotten I had, at the cards from strangers who'd seen my story and wanted to show support. I'm sure. Then let's get started. The arraignment was scheduled for the following week. Graham was charged with multiple counts of sexual assault. Vanessa faced conspiracy and fraud charges. My parents were charged as accessories. I didn't attend the hearing, but Chelsea did. She came to my apartment afterward with updates. Graham pled not guilty to everything. His new lawyer claims it was all consensual. What about Vanessa? Broke down crying. Pled guilty to fraud in exchange for a reduced sentence. And my parents? Your mum's still claiming she was trying to protect the family. Your dad asked if he could see Marley. I looked at my daughter, now 2 weeks old, and already showing signs of my stubborn personality. What did you tell him? I told him to ask you himself. He won't. He's too proud. Maybe that's for the best. My phone buzzed with a notification. Another message of support from a stranger. Another woman sharing her own story of family betrayal and survival. You know what the strangest part is? I said to Chelsea. What? I'm not angry anymore. I was furious for months, planning my revenge, wanting to destroy them all. But now that it's happening, I just feel free. Free to do what? I looked at Marley, then out the window of my new apartment, a place they'd never been, could never find, would never control. Free to be her mother, free to tell her the truth when she's old enough, free to build a life that's actually mine. And if they try to contact you, they won't. They're too busy trying to save themselves. My phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize, but I answered anyway. Is this Ava? This is Sarah Martinez. I saw your story on the news and I wanted to thank you. Thank me for what? For being brave enough to speak up. My brother-in-law did something similar to me and my family pressured me to stay quiet. But seeing what you did, I filed a police report yesterday. I smiled, looking down at Marley. I'm glad I could help. You saved more than just yourself, you know. You saved all of us. After I hung up, I realized she was right. I hadn't just gotten my revenge. I'd gotten my life back. And sometimes, that's the best revenge of all.